so much for joining me today. As you may be noticing, our classroom looks a little bit different this morning. I am traveling, so I am filming our live class from my hotel room in Phoenix. So it's nice and very hot and sunny here. I thought I would be able to bring you outside by the pool, but unfortunately the noise of the pool filters is too loud, and when I did a little test video this morning, it was just, you couldn't hear anything that I was saying. All you could hear was the whir of pool. So we're inside this very lovely hotel room, and I forgot my yoga mat. So I am doing some full-on hotel yoga, no official yoga props at all, but we're gonna make it work. I have my bathroom towel here on the floor, and I have these two cushions for my props. You don't need any props for the class. These just happen to be here and they're symmetrical, so I thought, heck, why not use them? And I'll show you how you might use them if you were traveling and needing to do some yoga in a hotel room, what you can do to make that happen. The nice thing about practicing in a hotel room is that it's usually carpeted, so if you do just have a towel, you can put your knees down. You don't have to worry too much about cushioning. It's more just about maybe not putting your face on carpet. So even better would be a pool-sized towel, one of those big towels if you're at a hotel with a pool. So yoga can be done, as I am hoping to show you today, anywhere with almost any kind of prop. Thought we'd just do a lazy, stretchy morning class, get into our bodies, start to wake up. Spots of side body opening this morning, a couple of twists. Hopefully you'll feel really good after this. There is no clock in this hotel room, so if you see me look down at my Kindle, because my phone is my filming device, this is the only clock device I could find, so I will be checking in with Kindle every so often just to see what time it is and keep myself on time point. So if you see me looking at this, that's all that's going on. You do not also need a Kindle for class. That's just my clock today. When you're ready, go ahead and come to seated. You can face any direction on your mat, it's not important. I'm just facing this way so I can see you. And bring the soles of your feet together. When you bring the soles of your feet together, sit with the feet far enough in front of you that you can sit up tall. You could sit onto a cushion if you wanted to, or onto a rolled up towel or a blanket. Even a block, though I find a block is a little firm, this cushion is pretty nice. And then bring your hands inside your legs, lift the crown of your head as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, find a little forward fold. Maybe it's just a few inches, but maybe you crawl yourself further forward. You're welcome to crawl your fingertips forward if that feels nice. You might notice I'm moving a little side to side here. That just feels good, as usual. You want to kind of just feel your way, sense your way into a bit of a stretch to open your thighs and your hips and your lower back here. As you breathe in, you might decide to walk your fingertips a little over to your left side, stretching the right side of your torso. Totally optional. You can also just stay folded forward if that feels really good. And again, here just kind of feel into a little bit of a stretch. So that's nice. And you're going to walk your hands, if you walk them over to the left, walk them over to the right for a couple breaths. Walking those fingertips back towards the center line. Walk your fingertips in towards you. Roll your shoulders back. You can stay up on your prop, or you can move it out to the side as you extend your left leg out to the side. Bring the sole of your right foot towards your left thigh. Another great place for a prop would be underneath your right knee, if letting the knee fall open feels like a little much for the crease of your hip. Lift your arms up as you breathe in. As you breathe out, just lean over to your left. You can rest your arm on your thigh. You can reach and hold onto your foot if that's accessible to you. If you like, you can look up. Just feel the side of your torso starting to open. First few times you stretch the sides of the body, it always feels kind of like you're just pulling things apart. It's kind of like when you take the bacon out of the freezer and you kind of just have to ever so gently separate the slices. Inhale, center line. And as you exhale, you're going to twist to your right, taking your right hand behind you and your left hand maybe onto your thigh or your knee somewhere. Relax your right hip towards the floor. As you inhale, come back to the center line. And then as you exhale, you're going to switch sides. You're going to extend your right leg out, bring your left foot in. You can use your crop of any kind underneath your left knee if you like. Lift your arms up as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, fold over to the right. And again, you find that stretch. Like it's enough to feel the stretch. You can feel the muscles starting to lengthen. Gazing down or up, totally your choice. See where your neck feels good this morning. As you inhale, come back to the center line. And as you exhale, twist now over to your left. Your right hand comes to your leg. Your left hand might come behind you. Relax your shoulders, relax your right hip. As you inhale, you're going to come back to the center line. Gather both sets of knees in, and you're going to come around to a table pose, stacking your hands under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips here. And this is where when you're practicing on a short towel, I recommend taking your feet off the end of the towel so you can grip your toes, at the eventuality you decide to take downward facing dog. And then as you come forward through your vinyasas, if you decide to take those, you have lots of space for your face to be on the towel instead of on the carpet. So being towards the end, if you're on one of those short towels when you're traveling, is always something that I forget and then remember as I bring my face close to the carpet. Shrug your shoulders back as you inhale. And then as you exhale, take your knees back, take your hips back towards your heels, come to a bit of a child's pose, and it doesn't matter how far down you come, you just come as far as you can. And then as you inhale, soften your chest as you come forward, so you're coming through your cow pose as you lift into your inhale. As you exhale, lift your belly button a little bit, pull your hips back to child's pose. And as you inhale, scoop forward, come to cow pose. And we're just going to flow here for a few moments. Work at your own pace. That means if you like cow pose or child's pose or any place in between, you're welcome to linger there. And just starting to wake up your spine a little more. Child rather, and then we're going to move to cow-cat. Inhale stays the same. You come through your cow pose, and now as you exhale, lift your belly up, tuck your tail, and your gaze down, find your cat pose. Inhale, cow, and exhale, cat. A little more like that. Again, your own pace. You can like this a little bit your own. You can always be looking a little side to side or dipping and bending your elbows, rolling around. It's not so much that the cow-cat part is perfect and symmetrical. It's that you're starting to warm up the length of your spine. And if there are other things that you need to do to warm up your spine, do them. Here, whatever movements that means for you. And then coming back to neutral, tuck your left set of toes under, reach your left foot to the back of the mat, reach your right arm forward, and just take a moment here to circle your wrist a few times or flex and point your fingers a little bit, just relieving any pressure there. And then reach again forward with your inhale. As you exhale, twist to your right, lifting your right arm up towards the ceiling, shrugging your shoulders back away from your And a deep breath here. Inhale again where you are. As you exhale, circle your right arm perhaps all the way to the back of the mat and then down underneath your shoulders. Lift your left leg up behind you as you inhale. As you exhale, stack your left knee on top of your right hip. So it's a little bit of a scorpion pose. You can look like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant over to your left shoulder. And then maybe you draw some big circles with your knee coming down towards the floor and then up and out and back towards the back of the rib. You can see how that feels. Totally optional. You can stay in your little baby scorpion. You can circle one more time. And then you're going to reach that left leg out behind you again. Lift your chest a little bit. Lift your belly a little bit. As you exhale, draw your belly up and then draw your knee to your nose. Inhale, reach behind. Exhale into nose. And you're just going to do one more like that. Reach your left leg behind you as you inhale. As you exhale, just drop your left hip to the same plane as your right hip. Turn your toes to face the floor. Lift your right hip crease, this space where you feel like your pants get all creased up. Lift that towards the ceiling. Lift the crown of your head forward. Take a deep breath. And then bring that left knee to the floor. Tuck the right set of toes under, reach the right foot back. Reach the left arm forward and roll out the wrist. Wiggle the fingers. Let go. And then when you're ready, reach forward again on your inhale. As you exhale, pick up your twist, dragging your shoulders back. Lifting your right hip a little bit. Inhale again here. And as you exhale, circle that left hand back underneath the shoulder. Lifting the right leg behind you as you inhale. As you exhale, bend your right knee, stack it on top of your left hip. Little scorpion. Shoulders stroke back. And you're welcome to stay right here. This might feel quite nice, just opening up the inside facet of your hip. Or you can draw some circles towards the floor. And then up and out. Getting a little warmer if you want. Just about 3 circles, not a lot. Gently opening up to the morning. Now again, reach your right leg out behind you as you inhale. As you exhale, lift your belly, bring your knee to your nose. Just 2 more like that. And then you're going to reach that right leg behind you. Lift your left hip crease up a little bit as you turn your right toes towards the floor. You're trying to keep your hips on the same plane so you're not collapsing into the right side and you're not overlifting, collapsing into the left side, overlifting the right side. There's lift in the left hip and softness in the right hip. You'll really feel your lower belly working. Take a breath. And then go ahead and release. Here, take your knees maybe a little wider than your hips. Bring your hips towards your heels. Walk your fingertips forward if your wrists are a little fatigued as mine are. You might turn your palms up and wiggle your fingers again in and out. Roll your wrists a little bit. Take another deep breath in your child's pose. And then gently bring yourself forward to your table pose again. You can stay right here in your table pose, or you can tuck your toes and lift up to a downward facing dog pose if you like. When you come to downward facing dog, you can pedal your feet or sway your hips. If you choose to stay in table, you can repeat any of the movements we did before, or you could even rest for a few breaths in your child's pose, see what your body is looking for today. Another deep, full breath. And then slowly walk your feet forward towards your hand. Coming up towards the front of your mat. Keep your knees a little bit soft. If you have the flexibility and you like to stretch your wrists, you can even turn your hands around. This is also a great thing to do if you have yoga blocks that are firm. You can put your hands on the blocks. So you press the backs of your hands into the floor a little bit and just a little bit of light pressure onto the wrists. As you can see, my knees are really deeply bent, so you don't have to have straight legs here. It's not a hamstring stretch, it's a wrist stretch. Another thing you can do if your hands don't like to get to the floor is press the backs of your hands together and just move your wrists a little bit. just allow yourself to dangle for a few breaths. Feel free to turn your wrists around, or you can hold your arms into the crease of the opposite elbow. Hold your hands into the opposite crease of the elbow. Start to feel your spine elongating. And as you're ready, press into the heels of your feet. Release your arms. And on inhale, slowly, one vertebrae at a time, roll to standing. You can walk your hands on your thighs to support your lower back. When you reach standing, roll your shoulders away from your ears. And take a deep breath. Maybe let your palms rotate to face the front of your mat to put your shoulder blades a little more onto your back. As you inhale, bring your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold back forward, drawing your hands through the midline of the body. Inhale, find halfway lift, reach the crown of your head forward. As you exhale, you're going to step your right foot to the back of the mat and walk your hands to frame your left foot. Your left knee is over your left ankle, and you're just going to stay in this lunge for a few moments and see how it feels. You might move a little bit forward and back. You're welcome to look back over one shoulder or the other. And you kind of just want to sink your hips down a little bit so you start to feel your thighs working. You're more than welcome to take your hands onto props or to the inside of your front foot if that feels better. And just kind of intuit, if you can, what feels good in your body. I find it really helpful to close my eyes so that I'm not distracted by what things look like. It doesn't matter what they look like. Where does your body feel good? Where does your body feel stretched or worked? Equally important is, where does your body not feel good? And if you go to that place, don't stay there. And take another breath in this lunge. Maybe there's going to be some heat in your thighs. And then if you haven't yet already, bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. You're going to lift your hips a little bit and then walk towards the back of the mat. Your right foot is going to turn to face the long edge of your mat. And you're going to walk your fingertips over towards your right leg as you bend your right leg and straighten your left leg. Sandasana. You can flip your right toes up, or excuse me, your left toes up, or you can turn your left toes to the long edge of the mat. You can fold forward here if that feels good, or you can lift up here if that feels good. I like to be kind of just reaching a little bit over to the right so I get a bit of a side bend as I fold forward. Take a few breaths here. Remember, you can always angle your feet in or out so that your knees feel good here. When you're ready, you're going to walk all the way back to the front of the mat. Turn your left foot to face it. Turn your right foot to face it, and now bring your right knee down to the floor. If you need to cushion it, little towel, little roll of your mat, don't hesitate. Draw your shoulders back. You're welcome to stay low, or you can come up a little higher, hands to thigh, hands to hips, or even arms up into the sky. Lift the center of your chest, no matter where you are, so that it's working to go forwards. Relax your shoulders. If you're up high, you can even take cactus arms. And here, squeeze your inner thighs together a little bit. Find the integrity in your thigh muscles holding you up. Take another deep, full breath. Inhale again here. As you exhale, fold forward. The right hand comes to the floor, to a prop. You bring your left hand onto your thigh or onto your hip. Twist over to your left, dragging your shoulders back away from your ears. If you like, you can take your left arm up to the sky. Another opportunity if you want to roll out your wrists, drawing some circles, wiggling your fingers. Something so luxurious about stretching your hand. Inhale here. And as you exhale, fold all the way back towards the floor. Plant your fingertips down or hands on props here is very helpful. Take your hips a little back as you straighten your left leg, starting to feel a stretch. And you might not have to go very far. You might even have to walk your hands in or your hands up as you start to feel the back of your left thigh. You conversely might like to go further forward, wiggling your left foot to the front of the mat or flipping your left toes up. The more you take your leg forward and your torso forward, the more intense this gets, which you may already be noticing. And the more you bend your knee or lift your torso up away from your thigh, the more gentle it becomes. Find the spot that feels just right to you today. Take a few deep breaths. Start to stretch the leg out. From here, you want to bring your weight forward a little bit into your hands. If you took this back foot really, or excuse me, this front foot really far forward, you might have to take it back a little bit. And you're going to try to go to your three-legged table. So taking your left leg back behind you as you inhale. As you exhale, again, stack your left hip on top of your right hip. Find your scorpion pose. And you can stay right here in your scorpion pose, or you could go a little further if you like. You can tuck your right set of toes under and maybe even take your right toes a little out to the right, like a little mini kickstand. And then maybe you like to roll your weight onto your right hand. You could lift your left arm to the sky and extend your left leg for a little half moon pose. Shrug your shoulders back. Again, totally optional. Lots of very optional things this morning. Kind of explore and see what feels good to your body. When you're ready from either your scorpion or your half moon, you're going to fold all the way back down to the floor. Knees on the mat. Walk your hands further in front of your shoulders. Slide your shoulders again over your wrists. And as you exhale, lower to the floor. Shrug your shoulders back, inhale, lift, find a cobra or a sphinx pose this morning. Either way, shoulders come back away from the ears. Find your collarbones drawing outwards. Take a deep breath. And then go ahead and release. You could lie right here on your belly and rest. Or you could press yourself back to child's pose for a little break. If, of course, you feel really fiery this morning, you're welcome to repeat your half vinyasa coming to the plank, to the floor, to the back bend, and flowing a little bit more. You can always customize your practice. As you're ready, go ahead and make your way forward to table or to downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths, maybe move around a little bit there. You're in downward facing dog. Think about lifting your hips up and back as if you were trying to touch your buttocks to the ceiling behind you. And then slowly walk or step your feet forward to the front of the mat, coming to dangle again. This time, inhale, find a halfway lift. As you exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, bring the weight to the heels of the feet. Roll, maybe one smooth breath this time. You can take your arms out and up if you like, all the way to the sky. Exhale your hands in front of your heart. Take a full breath here. Repeat that on the other side. Inhale, bring your arms out and up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, you're going to step your left foot to the back of the mat. Walk your hands to frame your right foot. We start with this kind of exploratory lunge is how I think of this. You just kind of play around. It's fine to move in any way that feels good. I didn't say this on the other side. It's perfectly fine to set your back knee down if you want to as well, if it gets a little intense and fiery towards the end of this hold. Think about your hips kind of starting to come a little bit closer towards the floor so you really feel your thighs. You can always bring your hands inside if that feels better. You can explore different ways to support your body, placing a fist on the floor, or your fingertips, or the full hand. Maybe using props underneath the hands for support. You can look around. Maybe wiggle your toes on your front foot. This is the first time that I've had my toenails painted since we've been on stay-at-home order, and it feels really nice. I like looking down and seeing a nice, bright, cheerful color. And you're ready. You're going to lift up your hips a little bit. You're going to turn your left foot to face towards the long edge of your mat. And you're going to walk all the way again to the back of the room, bending your left leg, straightening your right leg. Your right toes can flip up or turn also towards the long edge of your mat. And it doesn't matter if you're really low in your Skandasana, or if you come up a little higher and you place your hands on thigh or hands on props. If you like to do the side reach with me, reaching a little to the outside of your left foot. Feel your inner right thigh getting a nice stretch. Last deep breath here. And then you're just going to walk yourself back to the front of the mat. Right foot turns to face it. Left foot turns to face it. Bring your left knee down. Shrug your shoulders back, and you can stay nice and low. This might feel just right. Or you might like to come up a little higher, hands to thigh, hands to hips, or arms all the way up into the sky. Maybe relax your shoulders a little bit. Keep squeezing, even if you're in the low lunge and you're quite supported, inner thighs a little bit together so you feel your leg muscles working here. They are supporting you. They are your base in this pose. Another nice, deep, full breath. Inhale here. And as you exhale, you fold forward, left hand to the mat or to any kind of prop that helps to support you. Right hand to the thigh or to the hip. You can twist to your right, show your shoulders back. Maybe lift your right arm up into the sky if you like. You can move a little wrist and hand stretch. That feels nice. Be gazing wherever it feels good, towards your left hand, towards your foot, towards your right hand. It doesn't matter as long as your neck feels good. Inhale deeply here. And as you exhale, fold towards the floor. You're going to start to pull your hips a little back for that Ardha Hanuman or half splits pose, which just means we're stretching the back of our right leg. So when you feel a stretch in your right thigh, you stop and you hang out there. If you don't feel it, you can take the foot farther forward or fold further over the front thigh or both. If you feel it too much, that's when you might walk your hands in or stack your hands up onto some props. Even little pillows are sometimes enough. I was like, oh, it's just a little too much. Maybe I just need a small amount of support. Maybe I need a big amount of support. And kind of squish into them. Just make sure that you have enough stability if you're really applying weight downwards. Another couple breaths here. And then as you're ready, you're gonna draw yourself forward. If you wiggled that foot really far forward, that right foot, you'll have to kind of draw it a little back. Plant your hands down. You're going towards your three-legged table. Right foot comes behind you. And then you bend your right knee and you stack your right hip on top of your left. You find your scorpion pose. You shrug your shoulders back. And that might feel lovely. You can stay here. You can kind of wiggle your foot and your ankle. If you want to go a little bit further and find a little balance, you tuck your left set of toes under for support. You can take your left toes a little further out to the left side of your mat like a kickstand. And then you roll your weight to your left hand. You extend your right leg. Maybe your right arm even comes up to the sky. Little half moon position. Feel the sides of your torso working. Your oblique muscles here are just hugging in to help you keep this leg out to the side. Help keep you stable in this balance pose. You can take a deep breath in here. And when you're ready, fold from your scorpion or from your half moon back towards the mat. Bring both of your knees to the floor. Walk your hands forward. You need to smooth things out. Go ahead. Slide your shoulders over your wrists. Tuck your elbows in and lower to the floor. Inhale. You can take cobra or sphinx pose. And when you get there, take a full deep breath. Just really enjoy the back bend. Relax your shoulders. As you're ready, go ahead and release again. You can rest right here on your belly, or you can press yourself back to your child's pose and rest for a few breaths there. Again, if you feel really quite frisky, you could always keep moving and flow through a little vinyasa again, or hold a plank position or a downward facing dog position. And you can join me and just rest for another 2 or 3 deep breaths. As you're ready, go ahead and make your way back to your table pose. Or if you like, tuck your toes and come to your downward facing dog pose. Take a breath or so. Get all set up there. And then walking or stepping, bring your feet up towards the front of your mat, coming to dangle. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, soften. As you inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, interlace your fingers, turn your palms to the ceiling, and lean a little over to your left, stretching the right side of your torso. You can bump your hips to the right if you want. You can look up towards the ceiling. We're going to hold here for a few breaths. Keep bringing your shoulders back towards the back of the mat. Next breath, bring yourself back to the center line. Let your hands come down by your sides. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers again, turn your palms up. And then lean over to your right, stretching the left side, so second side. And again, we're spending a few breaths here, so it doesn't have to be kind of as far as you can go, just where you feel the side of your body. Again, just opening up, you can bump your hips further to the left if you want. Shoulders and arms come a little back towards the back of the mat. Inhale, come to the center line. And then as you exhale, separate your hands and fold all the way forward. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, you're going to plant your hands down. You're going to step your right foot again to the back of the mat. Using your fingertips to frame your left foot. Find your lunge here, shrug your shoulders back. And this time, think about lifting your hips a little bit, lifting your belly button, and reaching the crown of your head forward so you're elongating your spine. Keep pressing firmly into your right toes. Just take a few breaths here. That's all you have to do. Feel your legs. And we'll go back to our Skandasana stretch. Walk your hands to the inside of your front foot. Your right foot turns to face towards the long edge of the mat. You walk your hands back in that direction, straightening your left leg. And again, you can flip your toes up. You can turn your toes to face the long edge of the mat. You can stay quite high. You can go quite low. If you like, at this point, you could drop your hips back to your folk dancer pose. And maybe even lift the center of your chest. Some people can bring the hands in front of the heart here. Take a few breaths. Feel your thighs and your hips. When you're ready, you're going to walk all the way back again to the front of the room, but this time leave your left foot pointing forward and leave your right foot pointing kind of to the long edge of the mat. So you're coming forward like this, and then what you're going to try and do is walk around so your left hand is on the outside of your left foot, and your left foot is pointing towards the short edge of your mat. Your right foot is pointing towards the long edge of the mat, and you take your right arm and you windmill it up into the sky. Maybe you can even dry yourself up to warrior two. Heel of front foot roughly aligned with the arch of the back foot, making a really long T shape. Open your arms out to your sides as you inhale. And as you exhale, soften into this pose a little bit. Like you're just sinking into soft and fluffy cushions. Turn your left palm to face the sky and fold to the back of the room, right hand to right, left arm overhead. Extended side angle. Relax your jaw and your shoulders. Inhale to the center. Exhale, left arm to left thigh. Right arm reaches straight up or maybe a little over the head. So in your practice, you can go further towards the floor if you feel open enough, reaching your right hand towards the mat. Again, gaze point is not important. What's important is that your neck feels good. Last breath here. And then you fold all the way down towards the floor. Go ahead and plant your hands under your shoulders and you're going to step back. Maybe you go to three-legged dog this time. If you need to drop the right knee and go back to three-legged table, do. And then maybe you roll your left hip over and you stack it on top of your right hip. You find your scorpion pose. Inhale, square the hips. As you exhale, bring the left foot and the left knee to the floor. Option to stay here or drop directly to a pose of rest, child's pose, or on your belly. Or to take your half vinyasa, inhaling forward plank. You could stay high, or you could bring your knees to the floor again for the low plank. Either way, exhale to the mat. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog or sphinx. Take a nice full breath, really enjoy this place. And then make your way back. You can come back to table or downward dog or child's pose, or you could repeat that whole half vinyasa process, plank, push up. If you feel really frisky, you can add a couple extras. Back bend of choice. Next couple of breaths, we'll meet in our table or our downward facing dog. From your table or your downward facing dog, you slowly walk or step your feet up to the front of the mat. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale to soften. Inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. This time, press the palms of your hands together. As you exhale, lean to your right, stretch the left side of your body. This time, we'll move a little more dynamically. As you inhale, come back to the center line. And as you exhale, move to the left. Like an upside down pendulum, you're just swaying side to side with your breath. And once more on each side. And now come back to the center, press the palms of the hands together. As you exhale, draw them down through the center line, fold all the way forward. Inhale, pick up halfway lift. As you exhale, you're going to step your left foot back. And you find that exploratory lunge again. What does that feel like as you are just now maybe lifting your hips a little bit and reaching the crown of your head forward? You have to press into your back toes to get that lift up in your hips. And then you have to actively lift your belly button away from your thigh and reach the crown of your head forward. Probably fingertips are on the floor, even hands on blocks to help support that. And what I'm feeling at least is just a lot more in my front thigh. It's really working to keep everything lifted and supported. When you're ready, you bring your hands to the inside of your front foot. Your left foot turns to face towards the long edge of the mat, and you walk back towards your skandasana. And it's up to you where you go. Low, any angle to that front foot, or high, or dropping back. If you drop back, you'll probably need to turn your right toes up towards the ceiling. In any of those places, you can try and lift your hands in front of your heart if you want. Totally optional, just a little extra if you need it this morning. Take a few breaths and just feel your legs. When you're ready, you walk all the way back. And again, you want to keep your foot orientation moderately the same. So the right foot faces to the long edge of the mat. The left foot is facing more to, the right foot is facing to the short edge of the mat, to the top of your mat. The left foot is facing to the long edge of your mat. So you're creating that big T shape. And then you take your right hand to the outside of your right foot. Windmill your left arm all the way up, your right knee's over your right ankle, and come to your warrior two. My feet weren't quite lined up, so I adjust a little bit. And I find that warrior pose just sinking in, relaxing the shoulders. Turn your right palm up when you're ready and fold to the back of the room. Whoop, slidey towel. Not extended side angle. I'm ahead of myself. Reversing your warrior. Relax your shoulders. Feel that lovely deep stretch on the side of your body. And then inhale to the center line. As you exhale, right arm to right thigh. Left arm can reach straight up, or you can reach a little over your head. You can always reach a little further towards the floor if you feel like you want more in your hip and your shoulder. Inhale. And then as you exhale, you fold all the way towards the floor. You're going to turn your left foot to face the short edge of the mat. Plant your hands down. And then maybe you go back to three-legged table, maybe you go back to three-legged downward dog, right foot to the sky as you inhale. Stacking the left hip, stacking the right hip on top of the left hip, gazing underneath the shoulder. Full disclosure, I only had about a third of a cup of coffee this morning, filtered through a reused tea bag. The coffee maker was broken. Inhale, square your hips. Exhale. Right foot or right knee to the floor. Option to stay or to drop to a pose of rest. Or to add one more half vinyasa. Inhale to plank. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, cobra or upward dog or sphinx. Take a full deep breath. Really enjoy your back bend. And then come to a pose of rest, a child's pose, perhaps lying on your belly. If you actually find that downward dog is restful, you can go there. And take a few deep breaths here. Really feel what is happening in your body. Or if you're thirsty, this is an optimal time to take a little hydration break. When you're ready, begin to make your way to your table or to your downward facing dog. You're going to walk your feet forward and maybe take your feet a little wider as you come forward. Then your own hips, toes out, heels in for a squat. And as you come to the squat, you could come to a horse-style squat with your hands or your forearms on your thighs. You come to a spider squat, reaching your fingertips out in front of you as you keep your hips a little higher. Really nice for the muscles around either side of your spine. Or you can come all the way down and bring your hips between your heels if you like for a molasana squat, maybe bringing the hands in front of the heart. Take a few deep breaths. And then bring yourself all the way to the floor. You have it in your hips and your ankles to roll back, go for it. If not, any way that works for you. I'm going to turn again to face you, but you can sit in any direction that feels good. Extend your legs wide, wider than the distance of the short edge of your mat if you can. Here, props are so nice. You could place a prop underneath each of your knees if you have a hard time sitting up with your legs extended. You could place a prop underneath your hips. Could do both things at the same time if you want. If you do all of those things, or you don't have props and sitting like this is just totally untenable, like this, it really just feels really yucky, go ahead and come back to where we were at the beginning. Bring the soles of your feet together, maybe prop underneath your knees. So experiment and see where you want to be as we take our next forward fold. Either Upavista, right legs, or Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Roll your shoulders back, lift the center of your chest, breathe in. And as you breathe out, fold forward. As you fold forward, again, you just want to feel some stretch, thighs, hips, lower back. If you haven't used all of your props and propping yourself up yet, you can always use props underneath your forearms or underneath your forehead. Again, you can kind of wiggle yourself into this. You just go maybe a little side to side. It doesn't have to be rigid and static. My thinking is when you are holding poses that are rigid and static and make you feel rigid and static and tight, that's what you're building in your body. You're just compounding that energy. For a lot of us when we practice yoga, what we want to feel is fluid and flexible and strong, maybe even graceful. And it's a lot easier to feel that way when you can still actually move your body around and doesn't get stuck in this kind of tense place. deep breath if you can. And then slowly walking your hands towards you. Rolling your shoulders back. If you have your legs out to the side, especially, but even if you have your knees in, you might gather your hands underneath your knees to help bring your legs in. Place the soles of the feet on the floor in front of you. Bring your hands behind you. Lift the center of your chest. And then sway the knees a few times, side to side like windshield wipers. And then bringing those knees back to the center line. Extend the legs in front of you here. And you're going to cross your right leg to the outside of your left. And we're going to take a twist. And you take your twist with the bottom leg extended and the top leg folded in. That's your right knee pointing up towards the ceiling. If you have a fuller Ardha Matsyendrasana twist in your practice, you can always bring your left foot towards your right buttock if you like. So you can see what feels good. Both of your butt cheeks should be sitting on the floor. Lift your arms up as you inhale. And as you exhale, twist to your right, maybe hugging or taking your left arm around to the outside of the knee. You can see what feels good. Relax your shoulders and your jaw. And inhale. Come back to the center line. We're going to go towards our Gomukhasana. And if you are sitting as I am with your bottom foot folded in and you know that you have the flexibility, you can simply draw your left knee a little more in and then stack your right knee on top, and that might work out perfectly. If you're not sure, or you have your bottom leg out in front of you, I recommend you start there. Left leg extended, right knee bent, and you lift up your right foot and you just kind of guide it out to the left, working towards stacking your right knee to your left knee. And working towards is very much important here because this is a difficult pose for anyone, and especially for those of us with tighter hips. If you are more like a chin rest with your knee, you might add some props. Totally fine. You can sit up on a prop here. And you're just going as far towards right knee to left knee as you can. When you bring that second foot into play, bringing the leg out to the side, what you want to think about is having the feet kind of equidistant from the hips, more or less, as much as you can. And again, you can always prop yourself here. You want to feel the outside edges of your hips. If it feels really intense, lean back or lift and bring your right knee towards the right. Doesn't feel like quite enough. You got a little more, maybe lean forward. Bring the knees closer together. Find your variation of leg extended. It's called shoelace pose. Foot folded in is usually called Gomukhasana. Got a couple of breaths here to play. Relax your shoulders. Ready, you're going to walk your hands back in. Roll your shoulders back. Go ahead and open up your legs, extend them out in front of you. Give them a little wiggle, give them a little shake. And here we're going to keep working on our right side. We're going to work into our right shoulder. So sit in any way that feels comfortable to you. You could sit cross-legged, you could keep your legs extended. It's not important how you sit, it's just important that you are not distracted by your sit, your hips and your legs, because we're going to work into our shoulders, maybe a prop. Arms reach out in front of you as you inhale. Cross the right arm on top of the left arm. You could pull the right arm over to the other side of the body using the left arm as a lever. Or you could take the backs or the fronts of the hands together. And that might feel like plenty. You might just stay here softening your elbows towards the floor. If you want a little more, you can look a little over towards your left, bringing your arms a little towards the left side of the mat. And then maybe you even fold a little forward here, bringing your elbows towards your belly, chin towards your chest. Feel the space between your shoulders.
you're ready, you can start to release. Coming back to the center line and up. Unwind your arms. You're going to take your right hand now behind your back. And you can place the back of the hand onto your tailbone, or if it's possible, you can reach your hand all the way around to the crease of your left hip. And you want to hold hands with yourself. So grab your right hand with your left hand wherever you are. And then maybe you look a little over to the right. Relax your right shoulder. You can try looking a little over to the left. You can angle your neck a bit to play. Release that right hand. Maybe you need to roll the shoulder a little bit. And then as you're ready, you're going to extend your legs out in front of you again. Take the twist and the hip stretch to the other side. So the left foot crosses to the outside of the right knee. If you want, you can bring the sole of the right foot to the left butt cheek. Again, both butt cheeks should be able to be on the floor, whichever position you choose. Lift your arms up as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, find your twist. And I like to hug my leg, but you may well like to take your arm to the outside of the leg. See what feels good to your kind of lower and middle back here. You inhale, come back to the center line, and we'll move towards the Gomukhasana or the shoelace. If you feel confident with your feet underneath you or your left foot underneath you, you just bring your left knee a little more to the side and wiggle your right knee down on top, and that works if you have relatively flexible hips. If your hips are less on the flexible side or your knees are tender, I recommend starting with your right leg out in front of you, and then you just lift that left ankle and move it a little over to the right, working towards that step, and you work towards. It's not about how far you get and if it is quote unquote perfect. It's, do you feel your hips? Do you feel your lower back? If you feel too much, you lean a little back. You're like, oh, thank goodness. That feels nice. If you want to feel a little more, you come forward and you use your props. You use things to help you to stay in a sustainable place. Stay in a place where what you feel is stretching in your hips and your legs. If you have your bottom leg extended, you might get a nice hamstring stretch as you fold forward. Kind of one of the reasons I like to keep my leg extended. Feels really good to get an extra hamstring stretch. You may just feel the outsides of your hips. Some people feel the inner crease of their hips if there's a lot of tension going on there. I always feel my lower back quite a lot. And you just breathe into it. Fingertips slowly in. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. You can use your hands to help you unwind your legs. If you need, you can give them a little wiggle and a little shake. And again, we'll go into the left shoulder. So you want to sit in a way that feels sustainable and comfortable for your body. You could even do this if you want, sitting up against a wall or at a chair, in a chair. When you have a seat, reach your arms out in front, cross your left arm on top. You could draw the arm over the body, or you can wind the arms up like eagle arms. Relax your elbows towards the floor. Maybe you like to go a little deeper, turning to look to the right, or bringing the elbows towards the belly, chin towards the chest. Really opening up that whole left side. here we'll make our way towards Shavasana. Coming down to lie on your back. If there's any other pose or shape that you need on your way there, sometimes just a little drawing of the knees into the chest, maybe a happy baby, turning the soles of the feet to the sky is enough to make the body feel ready for some rest. Add whatever you need before coming to your most relaxing, most comfortable space. Your own version of Shavasana. Allow your jaw to soften. Feel your eyes soften. Feel the space behind your eyes and all the way deep inside of your brain. Feel that relax. Feel your scalp relax. Soften the back of your neck, your shoulders, and the center of your chest. Relax your belly, your hips, and allow your arms and your legs to be heavy. Allow yourself here to completely let go. Usual. If you have the time, please stay. Stay another 5, stay another 10 minutes if you can. If you must, come back to your day and wiggle your fingers and your toes. And move your head a little side to side. As you're ready, roll yourself all the way over to one side to rest for a few breaths. You are making your way to your most comfortable seated position. Allow your hands to come in front of your heart. And close here with our deep breath together. In through nose, out through mouth, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practices and your time with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Although I am traveling, I'm hoping to be with you again on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. But any updates, any changes will be on Facebook and the website. So go ahead and check in there if you need to, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.